Strickland's project could be dangerous. I have a mind to report him to Dr. Ack. The flower's dying. It needs water. Good evening, Dr. Strickland.
And good evening to you, Dr. Reid. Can I be of any help?
I have managed to improve the mixture by diluting it. Have you ever heard of Sir Joseph Francis Olive, or the placebo effect?
No, I don't think so. Why?
A placebo is a substance or procedure that has no actual physical effect.
You made a placebo of my project. Why?
Research has established that a placebo, as long as the subject believes in the effect, can provoke a positive physiological reaction.
Really? That's fascinating. And you want me to, what, administer the placebo and see what occurs?
Something like that, yes.
Well, I'm a bit surprised, but I trust you, Dr. Reid. Please take the key to my cabinet and put this placebo there for future use.
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland. It's locked, all right. It's locked. It's locked, all right. It's locked. It's locked, all right. At least Strickland can't kill anyone with this formula. It's locked, all right. Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reid.
Pippa, are you sure you want to leave this hospital?
To become a nurse was a little girl's dream. But in the end, I don't feel that useful. I want more. I want to make things change.
But you're doing something important here. For all the patients who need your help.
We save lives, sure. Each time we send a cured patient home, it's a relief beyond words. But since the epidemic, I feel so powerless.
What steps are you prepared to take to feel more useful?
I don't know yet. My sister believes that the real fight is in the streets nowadays. Maybe she's right. Maybe this is what I must do.
If you feel that saving lives is not useful enough, perhaps it means that you've lost faith.
On the contrary, my faith has never been stronger. Maybe we are all just too proud to face up to the fact that science cannot compete with God.
And what about Milton Hooks? Does he share your point of view?
For Milton, any change means more comfort and more peace. I disagree.
Milton cheats patients out of their money at this hospital, Pippa. Are you his accomplice?
Yes, I am.
Is this your definition of being useful? By abusing the sick and poor?
No. It is my definition of getting out of this useless life once and for all.
Whose idea was it?
What difference does it make? We did it together, and I'm guilty as charged.
Answer my question.
It was my idea first, even though Milton would say it was his, to protect me.
Why do you do it?
Why not? Most of the sick who paid for a bed are already dead, or will be soon. Don't you see the futility of all this?
You put a price on hope. This goes against everything you swore to uphold as a nurse.
Report me then, Dr. Reid. Report the little nurse and keep on lying about the surgical errors, the wrong dosages and diagnostics that we all covered for the sake of our colleagues.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins. Good evening.
Good evening.
I'd like...
Wise choice.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Do you know that Nurse Hawkins is thinking of leaving the hospital?
That's not a surprise. We've talked about it already.
Does it not bother you?
Sometimes I think she may be right. We should run away while we can. Question is, where can we go? Where is it safe?
Goodbye, Milton.
At least that
horrifying epidemic.
Good evening, Dr. Tibbets.
Dr. Reid, any good news to share?
Corcoran, I want you to tell me about Mr. Connor. How did he die? What happened?
He was my patient. He died because of my mistake. That's the blunt truth.
What was the nature of the mistake?
It was a twofold error. My diagnosis was wrong, and the administered dosage was too strong.
Who was this patient?
I don't know. Some sick man from the docks, maybe a fisherman. I had no time to talk with him. No one claimed a body.
Why not stop practicing?
Are you mad? I killed that man, I admit it, and it won't happen again. I have saved so many lives since then.
I will cover for you, Dr. Tippett, by keeping what happened to Mr. Connor to myself.
I don't know what to say, actually. I can't exactly force you to become my accomplice.
You didn't force me. This is my decision to make. I believe you're still of use to the hospital, considering the situation.
Then I can make you this promise. As soon as the epidemic is eradicated, I will resign.
You're exhausting yourself, Corcoran. Maybe you should think about preserving your strength.
No, we must keep on healing all those poor souls. We are the last rampart before chaos. Once more unto the breach.
Nurse Brannigan is worried about you, Doctor.
She should not have told you that. I will have a word with her.
You don't have to blame her for her honesty.
I'm not that kind of man, my dear Jonathan. Actually, Nurse Brannigan's opinion is the only one I may listen to.
Nurse Brannigan has been recently accused of neglecting her professional duties. Tell me what you really think about it.
This kind of protest is nothing but elitist bullshit. I trust Nurse Brannigan with my life. She has what it takes to be a great doctor.
Do you really think she could be the next Elizabeth Blackwell?
Believe me, Dr. Reed, a time will come when skill and skill alone will determine who can be a physician and who cannot.
What is the Pembroke Hospital situation? And please, speak freely.
This hospital is not exactly the best of London. I'm sure you are used to working in a better environment.
It's more than enough. In any case, the personnel of a hospital are much more important to me than the building.
Don't be misled by appearances, Dr. Reed. This hospital does not lack talented people. It just lacks hope.
What can you tell me about the staff in the hospital?
Some are really good, and others are not so good. But during this troubled period, there is no time for slander. I prefer to focus on the positive character traits.
Any opinion about the management?
I don't always agree with Dr. Swansea's reserve, but I must admit he does all he can to keep this facility running during this crisis.
Ah yes, the burden of command. I was fed up with this concept while serving as a medical officer.
Don't get me wrong. Swansea's a good administrator. I just wish he would get out of his office down again.
Tell me more about cherished people, then.
Nurse Brannigan is a pearl. She is the most helpful and dedicated nurse I've ever worked with. A clever and cheerful woman.
You really seem to admire her skills.
I'll go even further. If she was a man, she would be a damn fine practitioner.
What will you do after your resignation? Do you have a plan?
I always fancied visiting Cyprus. Such a beautiful island. I could buy a house there by the sea, read poetry, and wait for death.
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett.
I thought last summer's epidemic was different.
Reason to be proud.
Good evening, Nurse Brannigan.
Good evening, Doctor.
Why does Dr. Tippett claim you're the main reason he keeps working, despite his fatigue?
If it wasn't for him, I probably would have left the Pembroke years ago.
Dr. Tippett does not think of you as just a nurse anymore, does he?
If you're suggesting he's not taking my gender into consideration when it comes to medical practice and knowledge, I really hope he doesn't.
According to the report I read, your unprofessional conduct put a patient in danger, Gwyneth.
That's not true. I know when my patient's life is at risk, and I'm more competent than a lot of doctors that I know. Problem is, I'm a woman.
I don't see what your gender has to do with your abilities, nurse.
Yes, nurse. Because I'll never be a doctor, no matter what my skills. I could make a decision that could save a life, but oh no, that's unbecoming conduct.
Have you heard of Elizabeth Blackwell? She was the first woman listed on the UK Medical Register. Change is slow, but it will come. And you will always have my support.
To have the right to study shouldn't be determined by sex, skin, or wealth. That's all I'm saying.
Goodbye, nurse. Call me if you need assistance.
Another night with the glorious battalion of Pembroke.
A pigsty smell better.
I can't believe I'm doing this.
What is that? Bloody leech! He's dead! Murdering bastard!
Very fast, but I'll catch you. It's locked, all right. They've all been butchered.
Not a good place for Elise!
Jonathan!
What was that?
Please, sir. Can't let you through. One of them! On the wicket! Stop! Vampire!
I have this thirst for blood.
Open it! Look at it! Vicious bugger! Angry bastard! Order you! Step back!
Good evening, Christina.
Change your mind, Mr. Reed?
Goodbye, miss. Take care of yourself as best you can.
Soon the time will come.
It's locked.
Crush the leech, boy! This is not burning, boys! Filthy fucking beast!
despicable. Good evening, sir. It's me again.
Leave me alone, I say, whoever you are.
It cannot be safe for a blind man to live here alone. Let me enter, sir. I swear I mean you no harm.
Well, a voice never lies, and yours clearly is the voice of a gentleman. All right, Doctor, come on in. Tell me, how do you see the world these days? Wandering in this part of town at night, you're either brave or a fool.
It's locked.
Wandering in this part of town at night, you're either brave or a fool. So what is the name of my nocturnal visitor?
I'm Dr. Jonathan Rid. As I already explained to you, I'm inquiring about the epidemic.
Dr. Rid? The eminent surgeon? My God, I'd never have expected a brilliant physician like you to knock on my door.
You flatter me, sir.
No, sir, I am flattered. I read all your work when I still had my sight. I loved it. I'm Mason Swanborough, by the way.
Do you know Braille, Mr. Swanborough?
I'm no expert, but I learned it in my spare time, yes. Why?
I found a strange document entitled Cure for Blindness. It's written in Braille, so I thought perhaps it was yours.
Really? Is that some kind of sick joke? Let me see.
Here it is.
This letter seems authentic. And it actually refers to an experimental cure for blindness. You have piqued my interest, Dr. Rid.
Could it be of any use to you?
No. This page is just a part of a larger diary. I'd be glad if you could find the other pages.
And what else have you learned about me, Mr. Swanborough?
I know you assisted Professor Carrel in France, and that you invented a new blood transfusion method based on his work.
Yes. Those were frustrating but exciting days. I loved it.
Yes, the thrill of research and discovery. This is what drives people like us, Dr. Rid. Oh, how I envy you.
Does someone take care of you in this isolated place?
My sister Loretta and I have our daily routine. Every morning and evening she comes by so we can talk and eat. Then she leaves and I stay.
Do you not appreciate your sister's visits?
Loretta is the best and worst thing that happened to me, and I believe she could say the same thing about me.
Where does your sister go?
Well, let's just say, she earns enough money for us both.
What's so amusing about that?
I won't hide the truth from you. Loretta sells a fake miracle elixir to the sick people of Whitechapel.
Have you heard anything about Nurse Crane and her dispensary?
I think I've heard my sister talk about her. I wasn't paying much attention, though.
Why does your sister feel so guilty about what happened to you?
Because she knows I'll never forgive what she did to me.
You run an illegal business with someone you hate?
I don't hate my sister. She looks after me, we have a good time. But I'm just not ready to forgive her.
Goodbye, Mr. Swanborough. I'll leave you now.
Tell me, how do you see the world these days?
Look lively! It's on to us! He's fast! Christ, he's dead! He's done for!
I can't believe I'm doing this. More Braille. I should bring this to Mason Swan. Braille. I should bring this to Mason Swanborough.
daily routine. It is good to see you again, Jonathan. How are you?
I'm better than one might expect, Lady Ashbury. Dr. Swansea has asked me to investigate the recent disturbances in the hospital, caused by skulls.
Really? What do you mean?
There is something ominous closing around me, Lady Ashbury. Something spies upon me from the shadows. Something cruel and wicked.
Whatever do you mean, Jonathan?
Do you suspect someone?
I don't know, Jonathan. I steer clear of vampire politics, especially whilst hunters roam the city's streets.
If Sean Hampton and Harriet were not the guilty parties, then who? I saw the bodies and the blood.
Your rebirth has not gone unnoticed, Jonathan. Be extremely careful. If you get in the way of an immortal's plans...
I discovered the most intriguing skull. An elderly woman answering to the name of Old Bridget, and a man who helps them remain hidden in London.
Old Bridget? Peculiar name, I've never heard of her.
According to Old Bridget, skulls can lead a peaceful existence like us. They are even able to nourish themselves by feeding on corpses and the flesh of the dead.
How vile. Please, Jonathan, let's change the subject.
Skulls of London have gone into hiding. Both mortals and immortals plot their extermination.
Yes. Skulls are the orphans of the vampire society. They are the shame of their genitors. A disgrace to the vampire that created them.
Goodbye for now, my lady.
Another night with the glorious battalion of Pembroke.
Jonathan, at last. I've been worried sick. Have you solved the case of our poor Sean Hampton?
Don't worry, Edgar. The reputation of Pembroke Hospital is secure. Sean Hampton was not the guilty party.
Is that true? Oh, good news. Good news indeed.
I found Harriet Jones. She's much the same old, embittered woman she was, only she's been made a skull. Her transformation did not go well.
Incredible. Why not bring her here? We could learn so much by studying her condition. It would be fascinating.
I doubt that. She can barely move. Perhaps we could learn more about the degeneration of skulls.
Perhaps. But she could also belong to a new species. We know so little of the laws that dictate vampire reproduction.
Were there any studies made by your order on the subject?
Not that I'm aware of. I will transmit your discovery to the Brotherhood's primate. He will be delighted.
Does the name Old Bridget ring any bells?
I've never heard of her. Why? A patient of ours? I must confess, I don't know them all.
No, it's just someone I recently met. A fascinating woman. I had thought that perhaps...
By the stole, Jonathan, you've met another vampire. I would appreciate an introduction, if that's the case.
What do you know of the Ascalon Club?
Not as much as I would like. There have always been rumors about a secret society of vampires operating in the interests of the British Empire. though I've never met a member.
Do you think Lady Ashbury would know of them?
Jonathan, our beloved lady is not one for social dalliances, nor the assemblies of dark orders. She's a woman of superior taste and selective acquaintance.
I crossed paths with one, a terrifying creature going by the name of Fergal. He was sent by the Ascalon Club to exterminate the Skulls of the East End.
By the stole, Jonathan. If vampires are eliminating their own progeny, then dark times are upon us. Darker than I've ever witnessed.
A pleasure as always, Edgar.